I believe they tried running off the internet once, these trans people, but they've come back. They're back again. They're spawn camping. She respawned and they're getting her again. Piggy's rolling around in the pigsty. I'd beg her to eat. And she'd go, well, don't! What were you doing? I'm seeing evidence she wanted it. I'm seeing evidence she was disappointed it never happened. Which, I don't know how anyone could have seen this coming, frankly. True and fell. So this might even be coded about that other situation to some extent, right? She lied about how good friends she was with this Eden person. Huge stuff is happening, guys. Huge stuff is happening. Crazy stuff is happening. A day that many of us have been waiting for a long time. A long old time. Okay? There is a Twitter personality. You may not know her if you're newer, okay? But if you were using Twitter in like 2022 to 2023, maybe even early 2024, you saw sort of like communities around Vosh and Destiny, and you saw all the trans people that are around these places too. You know you're for a Tory. You know Tory, okay? You've seen Tory. You know Tory. Anyone got a picture of Tori? Someone send me a picture of Tori if you've got a picture of Tori. She was involved in the Rainbow Passage stuff most recently. That's probably where you'll pick her up from easiest. She was involved. She was one of the Rainbow Passage members. Which obviously the trans safe passage. Like they're meant to get trans people out of bad situations is the idea. The trans safe passage charity. She was part of that. The Bobikes went after because Tipster shilled it. She was also a big part of the Sun Cult. The Sun Cult was a collection of Twitter users who all had sun emojis in their names. And they called themselves the Sun Cult. What the Sun Cult was in reference to, they were all the friends, claimed friends, of this Saudi person who was a transgender, who was shipped back. They were coerced, allegedly, by someone who was sent to the US to essentially retrieve them and take them back to their parents, where they were forcefully, allegedly, forcefully transitioned and then themselves. Tori came out as a big, she said how good friends they were. They were such good friends, her and Eden, the dead Saudi trans girl. How they were such good friends. How they were the closest friends. She even ran a GoFundMe. I believe, a GoFundMe for a Discord funeral for this dead Saudi trans girl. So you may remember her from those couple of dramas and a couple of situations. She's on screen here now, Tori. And Tipster shouted her out at the start of his video, apparently.
I had good friend of the...
This is just 2 days ago.
So, I actually had good friend of the channel, Euphori Tori, bring this to my attention. Shout out to my good friend, Euphori Tori. So I'm not familiar with this person, Dean Withers. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I pronounce that incorrectly, you guys can correct me in the chat, because we all know I'm a big dum-dum that pronounces names wrong. But in any case, apparently this is like a content creator who's really popular on...
So that was all we had there. Just Tipster shouting her out the other day. As a great friend of the channel. Much like Tiger is a friend of my channel. So Tori says here, am I hot, Tipster? Of course you are, Tori. You lil puppy girl. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Do we need the image again? Not that one. This is what this person looks like. Interesting. Interesting taste there, Tipster. But why are we really talking about Tori today, other than Tipster shouting her out just the other day? Well, a big Twitter thread got posted going over all of Tori's misdeeds. I believe they tried running off the internet once, these trans people, but they've come back. They're back again. They're spawn camping. She respawned and they're getting her again. Okay, so someone says, it's really good to hear from you after so long, and I hope you stay safe. Tori replies, yeah, I took a pretty long break due to personal issues in my life, and moving back to Florida was one of them. I've considered posting here more often, but this site is fairly toxic and filled with right-wingers, so I'm not sure if I'll post here that often. Alright everyone, since @EuphoriTori is back on Twitter, it's time to fully come forward about everything she has done. Tori's victims have talked about all this privately, and some of you may already be familiar with some or all of this. This is not the first post on the subject, only the first public one. Most of this is stayed behind closed doors, but seeing her return to Twitter as if nothing happened is discouraging. Below is a thread that encompasses an event that I have remained quiet up until this point. So let's see. A trans life hangs in the balance. Wait, where's my intro? Wait, where's my fucking intro? Oh, fuck it, I'll use this one. It's just the music's just the Death Wish difficulty or whatever it is from Payday 2. Just that soundtrack. I will start by recounting what happened a couple of years ago. Many of us decided to meet in person to attend a Pride event. Eden's first together. So this is Eden. This is the dead Saudi trans girl, Eden, okay? During the event, Tori mostly sat on her phone and ignored us all, but the event went well. That night, Trophy, her husband, Tori, and Tyler, Mithril, all very normal names, the exact sort of names I'd expect to be frequenting a Pride parade in the group of their Twitter mutuals. Trophy, Tori, Tyler, quote-unquote, brackets Mithril, and Gordev. Gordev? What's this guy's name? Fargoth? Gordev? Yeah, alright. Shared a hotel room with two beds. Tori sharing one with Tyler. Tori alleged during the course of the night, Tyler repeatedly groped and assaulted her while others slept. This became known to all of us that were there the very next day, and shortly after, Tori took to Twitter to tell her story. However, this story isn't true. I will allow the victims to speak their side of this story before I include my own, as well as the others that were present in the hotel room that night and their own recollection of events. Tyler's story. In June of 2022, I was accused of sexually assaulting Euphora Tori, which I wouldn't because she's a disgusting. During a group meetup during Pride Columbus, G8, due to the large number of people staying at the home of Hayden and Bailey, whom I was living with at the time, that night I asked to crash for the night at the hotel room shared between Trophy, her husband Turbo, Trophy and Turbo, and Tori, okay, who was visiting from Florida. Tori and I were previously flirting over Twitter DMs. Yeah, frankly, you deserve to get smeared as much as possible. I'm fine with Tori smearing you. Why were you flirting with her in Twitter DMs? The fuck were you thinking? And opted to share a bed. I fell asleep near immediately, around midnight, or maybe a little later, in a spooning position I was invited to engage in, and slept almost uninterrupted until morning. Around 9 to 10 a.m., to the best of my recollection, only waking up to reposition once or twice due to discomfort. Tori and I both being larger people and sharing a full-size bed. Piggies rolling around in the pigsty. I woke up in the morning to Tori sitting in a chair, which I thought nothing of, since she probably just woke up before the rest of us, that maybe my snoring made it difficult for her to sleep. The trip back to Hayden's house was uneventful. Us sharing the backseat of Trophy's car, casual conversation about the day before, general small talk. After I was dropped off and the group mingled for a while, Tori left with Trophy and Turbo at about noon, and I received a text message from Tori telling me that I got grabby with her over the night. With no details, and with all the urgency you might expect from telling someone they made a minor faux pas, like chewing with their mouth open in front of you, which I had no recollection of, but assuming I must have done it in my sleep, I apologized and went on with my day, albeit uncomfortable that I seemingly annoyed the person I'd been flirting with online for the previous few weeks. Yeah, where was Chud during all this? Seems to be there's some phantom hands here that were unaccounted for. Where was Chud Logic on the night of this Pride Parade? As the days went by following that night, the narrative of what happened started being formed. I no longer was an annoying sleep partner. I was told I had sexually assaulted her, and that she's traumatized, and my whole world was crashing down around me, over an event that I didn't even remember. 1 week to the day afterward, the night we spent together, she made a large, multi-post thread on Twitter about it, about me, and at this point, to her narrative, she had shifted. At this point to her, the narrative had shifted from annoying sleep partner to sexual assaulter to rapist, and the thread was filled with details she hadn't told me, or anyone else previously, such as me allegedly holding her down and fondling her crotch, which at the time I physically could not have done. I was recovering from a bout of tendinitis in both of my wrists. I had next to no grip or arm strength. At the time, of course, I took everything at face value and believed I must have done everything I was accused of in my sleep, to the point that I got therapy. a sleep study done under the assumption that I must have some kind of parasomnia that causes sexual activity in my sleep, which came back that I just had mild sleep apnea, but nothing out of the ordinary for your size. But regardless of everything pointing towards me not having done everything, I carried on as if I did on the assumption I was a monster. I don't know why you would cop to behaviors you don't remember. Why would you cop to that? That's so dumb. Just keep contesting that shit. If you don't remember it,
These people are not human. They are closer to nematodes.
As far as I'm concerned, look, if someone actually straight up, if you obviously no one else on the outside can know this, but if you do not remember a fucking action, none of it you remember. It's like hard to, how much agency do you have over that specific action? Maybe you had agency earlier down in the situation where you shouldn't have gotten into the situation that got you there in the first place. But if you literally don't remember it because you were asleep or blackout, it's like, how much agency did you fucking have over that decision? Why are you fucking beating yourself up over it? I lost most of my social cycle after this event, distanced myself from my more supportive friends, and gave up my small presence online out of guilt and fear. I spent long nights unable to sleep and considered self-harm and suicide many times in the months following this event, knowing that despite never having any intention to cause harm, I did someone serious harm that I cared about. 6 months or so after that night, Tori decided to return to my life and forgive me, and I, still taking her story at face value, accepted the invitation. We'd chat, play games together, and since she had moved nearby, we even spent Christmas Day together at the Botanical Gardens in Atlanta. I thought I was in the presence of the most forgiving woman on earth, but months later, following the passing of Eden, who I lived with during that time I had spent at Hayden and Bailey's home, Tori, who had taken on the mantle of being the mouthpiece of Eden's whole story, decided that she wasn't actually over what happened with us the previous summer and tried to get me uninvited from Eden's funeral. So I carried on, still racked with guilt and a fear of reaching out to anyone I knew online from the same circles I met Tori in. I distanced myself from anything related to Eden's memory, despite the two of us living together less than a year before her death. In January 2024, I'd suffered a breakup that left me stranded in Portland area with no local friends or family and no money to go home with. And in that period, Tori began empathizing with me and flirting with me again in Twitter and Discord DMs, which I reciprocated both out of loneliness and emotional vulnerability and guilt. I felt like I couldn't turn her down or upset her because of our past. She didn't engage in anything inappropriate with me, but nonetheless, I felt I had an obligation to do right by her, so I went along with it for a time. This is stupid, but this is how fucking freaks work their way back into your life, isn't it? By making you feel like, oh, but we were such good friends. And by fucking trying to play empathetic. That is how freaks get back into your life, but this is stupid behavior. I continued carrying this guilt until February of 2024, when a group of people, including Clover and others who may or may not come forward about this, informed me that the story Tori created of what happened that night was nothing more than a mishmash of their own separate stories of sexual assault that they confided in her with when she informed them that I groped her on that night. And the actual extent of what happened is, according to Tori, at one point in the night she woke up to me asleep with one hand resting on her chest, and that all the other details she later added were picked and chosen from their respective stories to craft a more compelling narrative to the public. For nearly 2 years, I lived on the assumption that in my sleep, I had viciously attacked someone and severely emotionally wounded her, to the point that to this day, I'm terrified to sleep next to someone, regardless of our romantic or sexual status. All over Tori fabricating an assault, using me as a sacrifice to legitimize it, and me being blindsided and too afraid to call it out as it was happening. I got to sit and watch Tori use me as a weapon to win arguments with internet transphobes and to prove her validity as a woman, without being able to argue against it, both because no one would believe me, and also because I was informed otherwise. I believed it was my true self. I'd like to see those tweets. Where were the tweets of Tori saying, well, I'm a real woman because I got raped? I want to see those tweets. Clover's story. I'm coming forward. My friends here know I'm a sexual assault and rape survivor. I want to believe survivors when they come forward. So when Euphoria Tori came into my DMs saying she'd been sexually assaulted, of course I offered her my love and support. When she told me her story, I shared one of my similar experiences with her out of solidarity. She was a friend, my friend, and my heart hurt for her. So when she started changing her story mid-conversation with me to copy details of my sexual assault, I thought she was just coming to terms with other details she had blocked out. She knew I was a sympathetic and emotional victim, and she took advantage of this. Tori copied large details of my sexual assault experienced at the hands of Shay when I was 19. She then proceeded to come into my DMs for emotional support several times a day. She'd repeat my stolen story to me, re-traumatizing me. She did this at any time of day without warning. She eventually went public with stolen details of my story. I tried to support this. She then sent me links to assholes replying to her there that day. We should be back. It just dropped for a second, no idea why. So I'll restart this a little bit. She then sent me links to assholes replying to her and picking apart the details. I had to read people describe why I had consented to being assaulted. I defended her because she was my friend. And I defended this experience because it was nearly verbatim my own. It was my own. It took me months to compare DMs with others and realize this. I wish I still had the screenshots. That account is long gone. But I watched, with time-stamped convos, as her story evolved. I've spoken to people who were there that day. Tori fucking lied and used me to paint herself as the victim. She tormented me and destroyed my mental health. It took months of additional emotional abuse to see how she was treating me and question this. Why would I question it? Who does this shit? It takes a particular type of evil to do this. It's insane. She did so much more than that too. It was the little things. From her saying she looked more like a man than I do, so people would reassure her of her femininity. My dysphoria was simply caught in the crossfire. It was the big things, like lying about an eating disorder and triggering my own daily. She gave me updates on every meal she skipped. Yeah, no wonder she was fucking lying. Take a look at her. Binge eating disorder? Yeah, maybe. Look at the size of her. Skipping meals. I'd beg her to eat, and she'd go, well, don't. What were you doing? She'd go on and on about the food she skipped eating. When, weeks later, I cracked and said, I think you need professional help. I don't think I can help you to the degree you need. She told me that she would never open up to friends about this again, and how she'd keep her suffering to herself so she don't bother anyone. She triggered me without warning and guilted me for not being a therapist. There are so many stories. Thank you for those who believed me when I came forward over the past year about this. Your love and support has meant the world to me. I'm not repeating the details of my assault today. I'd prefer not to relive it again right now. Thanks for respecting this. So not a lot of evidence so far, I'm noticing. But there were no evidence for any of the claims in the first place, so I'm perfectly happy to just disregard all of this, as none of it ever happened, and they're all making it up. But it's funny to read. It's funny to read, that's for sure. These women sound insane. Uh-huh. This isn't women insanity. Andrew's story. I was in the room where the alleged SA happened. Tori, Trophy, and I all came up to Pride together. At some point, Tyler asked if it was okay to spend the night in our hotel room. We left that totally up to Tori, since she was the one with the room in a bed. With room in a bed. Oh, okay, she had space in the bed. And Tyler and Tori had recently flirted in DMs, and she agreed. We all go back to our hotel room and pretty immediately turn off the lights to all go to sleep. I don't remember the exact time, but it was well after midnight. Maybe it was the social high, but for whatever reason, I couldn't sleep. I ended up scrolling my phone until something like 5 a.m. Not long after the lights went out, Tyler starts snoring loudly. This went on for hours, with my wife occasionally elbowing me, thinking his snoring is coming from me. I spent most of the night rolled over, facing away from everyone, but I didn't hear anything from that side of the room besides the aforementioned snoring. On the couple of times I did look over, mostly early on when the snoring started, I didn't see any movement by the glow of the TV. I can confidently say Tyler fell asleep pretty quickly after we turned in, and stayed asleep for at least the next few hours that I was awake, up to about 5 a.m. I woke up the next morning, 10 to 11 a.m., before checkout time, to Tori sitting in the chair in front of her, near the foot of our bed. I asked what she was doing there, and she said something to the effect of not being able to sleep. Later, during a drive home, she mentioned that she had a rough time sleeping, and that Tyler grabbed her some in his sleep. My wife and I didn't really react as much, beyond a, oh damn, that sucks, I'm sorry, capacity. From there, Tori kept iterating on what happened the night before, gradually adding more detail and becoming more visibly upset. I'm guessing until it elicited the reaction she wanted. Okay, I think, here's my reading. This Tori person was DTF as fuck with this person in her bed, and was mad it didn't happen. And so came up with a rape story to make it interesting. Tori wanted to be assaulted. That's a crazy thing to say in chat that I disavow. I wouldn't ever say that someone wants to be assaulted. That's disgusting. In fact, you can take a moderation action right now. You can take a moderation action right now. Because I'm so disgusted by that. There you go. Take a 10-second timeout. Disgusting. Get that out of my chat. On 19% of MTF's XP. Okay. Thank you for the 199. Tori was crying a lot by the time we got back to our house, culminating in my wife holding her as she sobbed on the couch. We offered to let her stay the night at our house, which she took us up on before going home the next day. End of Andrew's account. Yeah, 10 seconds to know what the fuck you've done. This next one. Let's see this. My story. This is from Gordev now. At the time, I wanted to house homeless friends of mine, as I had the space to do it. Tyler was in a bad situation, so him and Eden were staying at my house. Tyler was devastated after these accusations. I have never seen someone take something this hard, and I remember at the time doing my best to believe Tori, but something was not adding up to me. Tyler is the heaviest sleeper I've seen in my life. The man snores like a fucking foghorn. You can hear it throughout the entire house. Andrew confirming that he could not sleep at night because of Tyler's snoring confirmed two things for me. One, that I was not alone. I couldn't sleep much in the house with him either. Two, that Tyler was asleep the entire night, unlike Tori's accusation that he was up fondling and groping her the entire night. I also watched the effect this had on Tyler firsthand. No one wants a false allegation, but the sad truth is that they sometimes happen. And I pray none of you ever have to go through what Tyler went through. He was never the same after this. We are so fucking lucky he did not kill himself. I know myself and Eden had to talk him off a ledge several times throughout this ordeal. False allegations kill, but that did not matter to Tori, only personal gain. Tori had a habit of speaking to a great deal of people about this assault beforehand, prophesizing it down to minutia a week in advance. She would go into detail about what she was afraid would happen, unafraid to delve into the nitty-gritty. Oh, she was fantasizing. That's fantasizing, okay? Now, I'm sorry, Butthead, that I gave you a 10-second timeout just a moment ago. If I could take that back, I would. However, it's already elapsed, and you can't remove timeouts on YouTube. Because now I'm seeing evidence she wanted it. I'm seeing evidence she was disappointed it never happened. Which, I don't know how anyone could have seen this coming, frankly. Every single person that has come forward to report this is either someone she stole details from after hearing about their own SA trauma, or simply other victims of SA, re-traumatizing them in the process. Here are some screenshots of her prophetic predictions long before the assault occurred. Okay, but you're all SA victims. You can't throw a rock without hitting a fucking SA victim on trans Twitter. Let's be serious here. I wish this was something I never had to worry about. I'm unironically terrified of how easily I could be manipulated and raped. Dude, you're like asking someone to. Oh, it'd be so terrible if someone just raped me right now. Oh my god, it'd be so bad if someone raped me. There's nothing I could think of worse than anyone raping me right now. I'm just so defenseless. I could so easily be raped right now. Haha, unless. Yeah, I understand. I don't know what exactly to call it. Maybe a freeze response. I've just slightly gone along with things before. It definitely sucks. My fawning response makes me easily gaslit into believing things. Like someone could lead me on to do things I wouldn't normally consent to. Oh, I'm sorry. Does he know you have a fawning response? No. He went to bed, but I'm going to let him know pretty clearly what my boundaries are tomorrow. That's good. It's definitely have a convo worth having. I just felt like super vulnerable and scared. Okay. Honestly, I'll spill a little. I have a fawning response, and I have GAD. With the way I am, someone could easily manipulate me and sexually assault or rape me. I'd probably go along with it while internally screaming. Basically, I was sort of freaked out that, like, what if Tyler wanted to do something and I went along with it while not really consenting, but didn't say anything. And I've told him directly I don't want anything sexual happening during this trip. Okay, so this is before the trip, but he's been super flirty and sexual in DMs. So I'm spooked a little. Yeah, she's like setting it up here. Dude, this is like framing. She's like framing this person. This is like in advance saying, oh yeah, if we have sex at this trip, it's going to be rape. And then you have sex with him. And then afterwards, you're like, oh yeah, he raped me. You know, because I told you weeks before he was going to rape me. Tori lied and co-opted another person's trauma for internet clout. Much like how she used the death of my sister, Eden. Sister? What do you mean by your sister? What does that mean? Does that mean you're all in a sun cult together? Is that what they mean by sister? Does that mean this is another Sun cult member? It must be. Also, this is insane. How do you have a social debilitation when you look like you're consenting to sex, but deep down you're not? I mean, it's a question for women, really, like actual women. Is there any other wacky content to do with this? Oh, we've got an old me video. I search Euphoritori on YouTube, and I get a Kuihman video. Oh my god, what was I saying here?
Okay, so if you look at trans stuff on Twitter by some horrific decision, you would be aware of this person here, Euphoritori, who is like, I guess, sort of like a Vosh, Keffels type orbiter, reply person, reply individual on Twitter. You'll always see if there's some, you know, politics discourse of the day, it's one of the many names that will pop up as you're scrolling down it.
Wow, get to the fucking point here. Holy shit, thank god I fucking get through shit quicker now. Holy fuck.
Friends, but some of us are in other states/countries and would need financial assistance to attend. If you'd like to donate, it would be greatly appreciated. Any extra funds raised from this GoFundMe will be donated to charity. So I'm not sure what happened with this, but you see Demon.
I sound different because I'm, in this video, I'm probably like actually in front of my mic, and now I lay back and I shout. And I just shout what I'm thinking.
Is one of the many supporters here with $200. So I'm not sure what happened with this memorial, what the details of this memorial.
No, this is the same microphone. Is this the same microphone? I think this is the same microphone I've got now, except it's in a different area. It's in a different not even a different room. I've got a sound deadening and shit, so it doesn't sound like total ass.
But I was told at one point it may have been a Discord memorial service. Not sure who this money ended up going to. I haven't seen it described.
Okay, what was the point of the thread though?
Eden and one of her closest friends, where she says in no uncertain terms how she feels about Tori. Take note of how Eden specifically calls attention to how Tori milks things. It'll come up later. There's Eden in the DMs here. Doesn't it seem like Tori?
Okay, I'll just go through this. Doesn't it seem like Tori has a huge victim complex? This is from Eden, the dead Saudi trans girl. Like, I don't know, her Twitter is essentially farming interactions from nobodies being weird and getting clout off of it. There's a bunch of people on Twitter I've noticed do this too. Yes, she does. Okay, I'm not crazy, lol. Like, I have a hot take, but I won't say it because it sounds mean and prying, but I will say she does this like, she does like, say it, lol. Okay, she like milks the fuck out of it when she gets wronged. True and fell. So this might even be coded about that other situation to some extent, right? I meant to show you this a while back. This is what I was talking about. Yeah, okay, I remember all this. Yeah. Okay, I remember this story. Yeah, this is crazy. She lied about how good friends she was with this Eden person. She was like bullshitting about how close they were. I was gonna claim that. I was gonna say that at the start, but I couldn't remember whether that had actually been like proven or not. But it obviously was, yeah. They were all running around on Twitter, acting like everyone's all of a sudden this fucking dead Saudi trans girl's best friend. The moment she dies. They're like, oh, we were such great friends with her. And Tori was the worst one. They were everywhere. It's fucking crazy. I mean, this was supposed about Star Roxvia person as well. This is the one that went off to Keffels too. I don't trust any of these people. The sun symbol is to honor my friend Eden Knight, who was forcefully detransitioned until she took her own life. And it is a symbol she spread when she went by Solaria. Leave us alone. The sun emoji in my name is to pay respects to my friend Eden Knight, who took her own life. It's an emoji she had all her friends last year put in her names as a little joke, and now everyone uses it to honor her. Some people online are calling it a Nazi symbol. We have the sun emoji to honor our dead friend Eden Knight, who was murdered. Stop harassing Eden's friends and let us mourn her. Dude, you were debating me on my dead friend. That's a line you don't cross with me, ever. Your input on my friend's death is not appreciated, actually. Crazy. I was best friends with Eden. We used to talk about the grace of Christ and the relation between God's providence and election. Awesome. Well, yeah, that's the latest Euphoritori update. Oh my god, and now we've got this fucking idiot coming in. Okay, guys, we've got a fucking dipshit coming in here. Erin Green. Tori misrepresented the story about me and lied about me. Sent thousands of followers after me to DM me death threats. even after my accuser admitted she lied and promised to make a clarifying post. Tori made efforts to bury that and control the narrative, claiming I was a pedophile and a rapist and I was not to be trusted. So I thought this person's a pedophile, okay, but I think didn't they date like a 16-year-old or 15-year-old when they were like 20-something? Isn't that the story here? How old were they? And how old was the other person? Hasn't this, they've like copped to most of it. They just say that, they've like copped to most of it. They just say that the 15-year-old abused them too, wasn't it? Didn't the 15-year-old punch them or something? I don't remember what the fucking story was here. I know this person's mad annoyed at Careful's for spreading the story. She had so much clout at the time that everyone trusted her. I remember being one of the only people in her friend group to actually speak up against her when this shit was going down, and she made efforts to deal with my friends and convince them to back down. Similarly, I was one of the people speaking up about Fargoth when he assaulted Shay and claimed she fell down the stairs instead. Well, I appreciate that. Oh, so this guy's got some... The one posting that thread's got some skeletons too. Well, what's the problem with you guys, eh? Well, why have you all got this weird stuff going on? While I appreciate the thread Fargoth posted compiling the many accounts of Tori's victims, I want to emphasize that none of these people are to be trusted. They're all out for themselves and don't care what happens to others as a result. I'm no saint. I've made mistakes. I acted irresponsibly when I was young, and I still have a lot of growth to do. But Tori controlling the narrative about me and sicking her followers on me made me suicidal for years. I lost all my friends, my reputation is in shambles, and it's all because she and others decided I was inconvenient for them. Lux admitted she lied multiple times. She made promises that she'd admit to everyone her lies, but I haven't spoken to her in years at this point. I don't care to. Tori took an opportunity to get rid of one of the people who actually spoke up against her and took it. People continue to believe these slanderous lies about me. People continue to believe these lies because that's what people do. I'm pretty sure that there were extremities that were lied about in this person's story, but I believe they were still in a relationship with someone who was underage. I do believe that to be the case, from what I recall. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I believe, regardless of any claims about specific actions in the relationship, this person was an adult dating a 15-year-old or 16-year-old. Was it Luxander? No, it wasn't. No way. No, it wasn't Luxander. What are you on about? What you on about? What are you talking about? My life is forever changed because of Tori and her lobbying Keffels to make a video about me. Tori also lied to Keffels, saying I needed to be stopped because I was trying to create a safe space for trans minors, when I have never once said that. So Tori, if you see this, please enjoy this bed you've made for yourself. I hope this taste of your own medicine causes you to seriously reflect on how your actions have harmed others. But I won't hold my breath for it because, let's admit it, you've never been capable of change, and you always be the disgusting, manipulative monster you were back then. Haha, yeah, imagine that. False accusations being life-ruining to the point where the accused tries to take their own life. Not like I've quick personal experience in that area or anything. Okay, give her the rest. Don't care. Give her the rest. Nobody asked. Go cry to your teenage girlfriend about it. And that, I think, that's probably about it for the Tory segment. I think that's about as much as we're going to get out of that one.